Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SiriusXM app filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
With summer dance sounds in the SiriusXM app, the party never stops on new channel Sounds of Ibiza. Summer house throwbacks play on Utopia. Or lounge to poolside vibes from Chill. Find it all on the SiriusXM app. Tap in, turn up, and keep moving. Search summer.
On SiriusXM Progress. Start your day with Mornings with Zerlina.
With me, Zerlina Maxwell.
Get your marching orders from Michelangelo Signorilli.
I do think we've made progress.
Dive deep into the issues with Dean Ovidala.
This is where we stand.
And challenge your thinking on Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang.
I'm really proud of my country.
Plus, Stephanie Miller and Tom Hartman. To hear SiriusXM Progress, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through Nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP.
Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Channel of unforgettable R&B from back when Beyonce went solo. Through Drake's unstoppable rise.
That's why I need a one dance.
So when SZA dropped Control.
I just keep him satisfied through the weekend.
Feel the energy and emotion of 2000s and 2010s R&B in The Flow. Channel 48 and on the SiriusXM app.
In Paris. There's nothing better than being behind the scenes of today.
Learning the stories of the athletes.
How can you not get excited?
Join us for the biggest and brightest moments with our special guests. Steph Curry.
Simone Biles. I can't wait to see my Today family.
This week, live from Paris. Only on Today Show Radio. SiriusXM 108.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. You gotta get
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at EquityZoneMortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vini vini vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton, Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Want to be my neighbor. Shut up! You fools, 3 o'clock in the morning. As I told you, you voted for me. You should have read my experience. I had none experience running the neighborhood, but I'm trying to bring people together at 3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes people just don't want to get along. Are you out of your fucking minds? Some people don't want to get along. That's my story. And I'm thinking, what a beautiful Wednesday called Hump Day, July 31st, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, because I see a lot of wide splits going around here in Denver Hills, blaming on all the fast food restaurants. A lot of wide splits. They say if you got a wide split, you must have quit. That was if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Okay, but the same thing. If you got a wide split, you must have quit. Too many people eating us fast food. Hey, I'm not saying I haven't been one of them. I've also stood at that line. Give me a double-double. Give me a double-double. Now the only line I want to stand in is the bake line. If that makes sense to you, I want to say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. And streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV, if that makes sense to you. I do want to say I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man, and I'm going to talk about some of the things at the Olympics. Shericka Jackson dropped out, and that gives Sha'Carri Richardson a much better chance of bringing home gold. I'm going to also update you on the Olympic medal count. Team USA is doing its thing, even though not winning the most gold medals, still winning a lot of medals. And then NBA basketball is fantastic. We know that's there. And I may even have a chance to talk about some college football. We will see. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You know, POTUS went to the National Association of Black Journalists, and he was asked a question by a beautiful, intelligent black woman, and he said, "You're a fool thinking I have decorum. You must be fake news. You got to be fake news. Now please vote for me." What a joke. What a joke. Melanie Strike says she must be fake news. A white man with orange hair calling a black woman fake news because he called them some things that are already said on the media. Are you out of your fucking mind? At the same time, I'll let you hear some words that he spoke for himself, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I tell you, with the Big C Sports Podcast, I'm a little bit different because I know who I am. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them, if that makes sense to you. You know, I gotta tell you what I do with Big C Sports Podcast, and I should take more time to script my show. Because sometimes I have no idea what I'm gonna say. It's like, Big C, are the audio fucking mine? Because sometimes I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm telling you, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. But I'm flying off the cuff today, and hopefully the cuff is not gonna let me go out too far where they gotta reel me in like a fish. You don't want to be reeled in like a fish, but I will say I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. I know I could use more laughter. The commercials are done. The stats are provided. I do the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Kevin Durant, 4-3. Yes! Getting the whole in your life. I'm telling you, USA basketball looks really good so far. We'll see if they can keep that party going, if that makes sense to you. And then the shows, I'm telling you, I upload. The program goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then streaming multiple TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. Number 10, I never missed a show. I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports Podcast back with the crew at Salem Media, and I really do appreciate that. Yesterday, I had the great decorated military veteran Kevin Humes on the program, and he really gave me a lot of information about what's going on with the projects he's working on with Lennox Lewis, former champion, boxing champion, also some other dignitaries out of Washington, D.C. He's out of the great state of Florida at this time. Really do appreciate the great Kevin Humes being on the Big C Sports Podcast, talking about some of the projects that we would be working on together, if that makes sense to you. Really do appreciate that. But I also want to say what's important to me with Big C Sports Podcast, and I always say a mind is a troubled thing to waste. And I don't want to lose my mind. So sometimes you got to realize you can be attacked, you can be accused, you can be called a lot of things out of your name. At the same time, You know who you are, and just be kind. Just be kind. Be kind, be kind, be kind. I tell you, it's amazing how many times people can just change on you overnight. It's amazing, but you got to stand strong because God doesn't change. People change all the time. God doesn't change. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do want to say what I won't change. I won't change bringing you the Veterans Crisis Hotline because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. I got to make sure as I hit my sneeze button, you got to make sure that the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they're always there. You know anybody going through issues? 800-273-8255, 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's so good when somebody's leaning back. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. The Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are there. And they do a great job to help our veterans. A lot of them have post-traumatic stress disorder. And they got to know this help. I was talking to Kevin Humes about that yesterday. And it's a great thing that veterans who listen to Big C Sports Podcast, you got to say 1 million strong. And I thank all the veterans. You got to spread the word, what you heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. I will champion the reparations crisis. I'm telling you, there's a champion in all of us. You got to be a champion in all you do. And I want to be a champion for reparations in this great country. I also want to make sure that I'm a champion for people trying to do whatever it takes to build themselves up. Men, women, all over this country. We have a great country. And I was told back in the day, I was told by somebody growing up, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I was told that, and then I heard JFK say the same thing. I heard it first from my granddaddy. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And then next thing you know, JFK was saying it, and people gave the white man the credit. The black man said that a long time ago. If that makes sense to you, well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. And just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. And I want to let light shine all over this great world. I'm telling you, I have a commercial, more like an infomercial I've been working on. You know, I've been doing some things in my life that are amazing. And life is funny. But I do want to say, I'm doing the best I can as a Trekkie and also as a person that loves, I actually love Star Wars and I love Star Trek. But it doesn't mean I can please everybody. But when I do the best that I can to shine some light on the subject, I want you to know I'm doing it with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I hope that you get it. Kevin Humes got it yesterday when I talked about what I'm going to bring up today in Big C Sports, my infomercial. And for the sake of the show, I'm going to do a little bit of something to change the background music, if that makes sense to you. Hopefully you'll like it. I said, I hope you like it. I gotta say, you gotta pay attention. There's gonna be a quiz after I'm done. A guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth resource development consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau, attorney at law, and also attorney George Jones, the missing link, long-term care solutions by the book, over 3 decades of experience, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow, in Medi-Cal in California, other places called Medicaid. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. I'm telling you, you got to do it. You got to call that number when you want to learn how to protect your assets. We specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. But not only that, protection of your assets. You gotta understand including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. For example, I love Star Trek. It's called the Starfleet Federation. I also love Star Wars. It's called the Empire Strikes Back. I imagine one day, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the USS Starship Enterprise, they were on a 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, and to boldly go where no man had gone before may let me strike. As they went on the warp drive, they decided to come out of warp drive, and they came upon this beautiful black shiny planet in hyperspace. And Captain Kirk said, well, that's peculiar. What a beautiful black shiny planet, but it's blinking. It has blinking lights. And Scotty said, yeah, it is a beautiful black shiny planet. It does have some blinking lights. And Spock said, wow, that is a beautiful black shiny planet. I want to do the Vulcan mind meld. I want to touch the top of his head. You know, when you're a black man and you have a black shiny dome, a lot of people want to touch it. But you can't just touch it without my permission, if that makes sense to you. And so Captain Kirk said, maybe, Scotty, we should raise the shields. And Scotty said, why? It's just a beautiful black shiny planet. And then Spock said, yes, Captain, you don't want to be racist because it's a pretty black shiny planet. He said, racism had nothing to do with it. But I think we should raise the shields because I have a gut instinct that I got to trust my gut instinct. And then just as he was going to raise the shields, they heard over the helm, hi, this is Captain Darth Vader from the USS Starship Federation and the Empire. And I'm telling you, do not raise your shields. It's an order from Starfleet Command. Do not raise your shields. I want aboard the USS Starship Enterprise. So Captain Kirk, Scotty, and Spock, do not raise your shields. And Captain said, well, how do you know our name? And he said, I'm using the Force. I'm using the Force, and I'm telling you, I have orders from Starfleet Command and the Empire. Do not raise your shields. And Captain Kirk said, well, who's the Empire? I don't know who the Empire is. And he said, don't worry about it. I am your daddy. And Captain Kirk said, you're not my dad. And Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields. Scotty said, yeah, but he said don't raise them, and he is your daddy. He said, he's not my daddy. And Darth Vader said, Scotty, I am your daddy too. And Spock, I'm your daddy too. And Spock said, you don't look like my dad. My dad's green. And Scotty said, my dad ran away a long time ago. And he said, do not raise the shields. You have an order from Starfleet Command. And Captain Kirk said, Scotty, are you out of your fucking mind? Raise the shields. And so Captain Kirk finally got through to Scotty, and he raised the shields in the nick of time as the Death Star was getting that pulse of a laser beam of fire on the USS Enterprise. And he said, warp speed straight ahead. And they got out of dodge because they jumped into warp speed. Because Captain Kirk trusted his instinct. You got to learn to trust your assets. He saved the assets of the USS Starship Enterprise because he raised the shields. The shields are like a trust. If you're a business owner and you don't raise the shields like a trust, the Death Star may come to kill, steal, and destroy. May lightning strike! You gotta raise the shields. You gotta have a trust if you're a business person. You see, I'm auditioning for Star Trek 29 and Star Wars 25, if that makes sense to you. You gotta learn that avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program can be from 10 to 20%. You gotta protect your assets. If you don't have a trust in the will, when you go to probate court, they will have a will for you, and you will not like it. They love people who don't protect their assets. They love when you don't have a trust in the will. They always have one for you. And we have a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. But I'm not done yet. I said I'm not done yet. What does asset protection do? For example, protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance. A trust protects your fixed assets, your bank account, your checking accounts, your savings accounts, your money market accounts, your certificates of deposit, your life insurance policies with cash values, your fixed index annuities. But not only that, it protects your variable assets, your real estate, qualified money, IRAs, 401ks, other investments. For example, you want to avoid capital gains, you got to have a trust. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and 1 year later that house appreciates to $1 million. According to real estate brokers that want to make a sale, they say what they got to say. Well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid that if you have a trust, if that makes sense to you. Attention business owners, attention business owners, attention business owners. Over 3 decades of experience, you can find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624, 8624. And when you do, you got to tell them Big C sent you. Now, I'm going to tell you also, people say, why would we trust you, Big C? We have our own attorneys, and they do trust too. Well, that may be the case, but would you believe with the RDC team and Big C Sports, we have some great endorsements. When anyone says work with them, ask them who endorses their product. We have the endorsement of the late James Gomez, who advised governors and led change in California nursing homes. He also served on the board of Golden One's board of directors. But not only that, you got to realize, the late Jim Gomez, the CEO of California Association of Health Facilities, he was doing his thing for over 21 years. But not only that, he endorsed the RDC team. And then we have the late Robert Carlson. He was a top legal counsel for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. George Jones, Esquire, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, and also California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Attorney Scott Thibodeau, one of the top estate planners in Northern California. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods, a resource development consulting, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorsed the RDC team. Not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO, a resource development consultant, been doing this thing over 34 years. But not only that, he does it by the book, by the government's book. We have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry, the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. I endorse the RDC team. But not only that, business development consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast that has one of the most decorated veterans in the universe. Come on, the Big C Sports Podcast, and the veterans endorse the RDC team. But not only that, we have Double O, payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Also, consultant for the RDC team. Not only that, has her own economic awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can Google it on Access Sacramento. She endorses the RDC team. But not only that, you can give it all praise. I say give it all praise, praise, praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I also got to say, not that I'm going to give out the address, but we've been invited to one of the biggest functions in Northern California for long-term care. One of the biggest in Northern California for long-term care. Going to be doing that coming up with the RDC team. And that a lot of people cannot say. You got to have the real McCoy to go to those events. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to tell you, I'm a champion for reparations, and I hope that I get the invite to participate in Star Trek 29 or Star Wars 2025, because I put in a great audition, and I know I'm going to get, I can even play Darth Vader. I can see the Autumn Wind was a raider, and his name was Darth Vader. He came to ask for reparations now. Reparations forever. That's what we need, asking for reparations. We'll get it then, because he'll use the mind. He'll use the force. I'm going to use the force to get reparations now. Reparations forever. Yeah, that's what I just had that epiphany. If Darth Vader were to join the reparations task force, if you don't get reparations, you might perish. If that makes sense, yeah. We got to get reparations, and Darth Vader can help with the reparations. I got to tell you, I'm having a day. It's one of those days. But you always rise and shine. My mama told me that. And I want to, God, this is so incredible. I want to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I don't want to waste my mind. I don't want to waste my mind. My mama always says rise and shine no matter what. You got to always rise and shine. No matter what, you got to rise and shine. And I will rise and shine if that makes sense to you. But I do want to say that the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, we got to pay homage to it. I want to give praise to the inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber. She's the Secretary of State of California, and she worked with California Governor Gavin Newsom to mandate a California Reparations Task Force, and they put it together, and ironically, there's almost 1,100 pages, like 1,065 pages to the California Reparations Task Force. And I want to talk about the members because I want to give them praise. I want to give praise to Camila Moore. She's the chair of the California Reparations Task Force. She's also an expert when it comes to reparative justice. In fact, she photobombed some of my pictures at the Secretary of State building, and now I want her to photobomb the Big C Sports Podcast. If Kevin Humes, one of the most decorated military veterans in the universe, will come on the Big C Sports Podcast, Camila Moore, I want you to meet him. We can break bread over the air, but love to get your thoughts on the Big C Sports Podcast. I love giving you praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown. He's the vice chair. I love giving him praise. He actually came on the Big C Sports Podcast about 3 months ago. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford because he's a chaplain. He's like Darth Vader. He said, join the reparations side. And I'm telling you, he's like Moses also. When in the good book, when God spoke to Moses and he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said, well, who did I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And he went down and did his thing. It's a lot like Senator Bradford, the same command. When Senator Bradford was talking to God about passing reparations, Senator Bradford allegedly said to God, God said, go down into the Senate in the state of California, the state capital, and tell the Senate, I said, pass reparations, and tell the legislators, I said, pass reparations. And then Senator Bradford said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And you know he's getting them passed, Senate Bill 1331, 1403, and Senate Bill 1050. You got to believe it's going to happen from sea to shining sea. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I also want to give praise to Senator Bradford because he sponsored Name, Image, and Likeness, which helps a lot of student athletes get paid on their name, image, and likeness. College football starts up in August. A lot of athletes get money because Senator Bradford started that bill. He may not get a lot of credit for it, but he does on the Big C Sports Podcast. And I told him that when I met him, and he said, thanks for saying that. Thanks for saying that. I said, you're welcome, sir. And then he crafted a bill for the Ebony Alert that has law enforcement put the same amount of resources into finding missing black children as the Amber Alert puts into finding missing white children. And I really do appreciate him for that. And he's championing reparations. I want to give him praise. I want to give praise to a council member, Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to her attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She's also a champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion that Project 2025 is trying to do away with, if that makes sense to you. I want to give her praise. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. I love giving him praise. I also want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki, Japanese American. His ancestors got reparations from me at tournament camps. I love giving them praise, and you can too. Give them all praise, praise, praise. Tell it from the mountaintops. Reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, I want you to hear from the greatest speaker in the history of this country. When he talked about reparations, a lot of people say that we love the inimitable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but if you love him, will you stand on what he talked about? Like the Just Act? Listen to what he says with his own words.
We had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, you know, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them he murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. You know, it's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Reparations now! Now listen, I believe in equal time. You heard the great, inimitable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak. I'm going to let the two presidential front-runners to speak for themselves. I'm going to have Kamala Harris and then Donald Trump speak in their own words. You got to decide what you hear in your own eyes and ears.
Folks, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke today in Houston, where she addressed the American Federation of Teachers. During her 19-minute speech, she aggressively went after Donald Trump, Project 2025, and other critical issues. Here's some of what she had to say.
We are clear-eyed as we work to build a brighter future and to move our nation forward. There are those who are really trying to take us backward. And you, I'm sure, have seen their agenda. Project 2025. Randy, can you believe they put that thing in writing? 900 pages in writing. So Project 2025 is a plan to return America to a dark past. Donald Trump and his extreme allies want to take our nation back to failed trickle-down economic policies, back to union busting, back to tax breaks for billionaires. Donald Trump and his allies want to cut Medicare and Social Security, to stop student loan forgiveness for teachers and other public servants. And I say to AFT, they even want to eliminate the Department of Education and end Head Start, which of course would take away preschool from hundreds of thousands of our children. He intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and make working families foot the bill. And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. Now think about that, to take us back to a time when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Remember what that was like? Children with asthma, women who survived breast cancer, grandparents with diabetes. You know, America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back.
Now, I believe in equal time. Now I'm going to let Trump speak at the National Association of Black Journalists, and they were talking about some things that he said about African Americans before asking us to vote for him.
He said about black people in the past and the way he's referred to black people, the way he's treated black journalists. So a very heavy question for him. His response, wow, did not go over well with the crowd.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
And from there, it continues. I think basically, at least at the outset of this, he's playing his greatest hits. I got same responses. I got a forward question for you. Why'd he do that? Why'd he go? So here's why I went. Before, like I said, before.
Letitia from Dallas, and as a black woman, this really made me mad. Yes, I know who I'm already going to vote for, but why would you go there and then it'd be insulting, to this woman? You want more black voters because that's why you're there. And then you disrespect the black woman that asked you the question and said, oh, I don't remember that, and you're being rude and blah, blah, blah. Woe is me. We don't like it. We the people, we the black women, and I can speak for a few of us, we didn't like that.
Just real quickly, there is a...
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I told you my show's not scripted, and I let you hear from... POTUS 45, Donald Trump, and also Kamala Harris, both trying to become the president of the United States. You can hear it with their own mouths. This is not about, oh, Big C, you're speaking for people. No, I let you hear with your own eyes and ears. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. May lightning strike if you have your head in the sand and you don't know what's going on. Well, I want to tell you that's what you get with Big C Sports Podcast. I believe in bringing you real news and real entertainment and real sports talk. That's called broadcast integrity. Broadcast integrity. Speaking of broadcast integrity, I want to run across, and maybe I'll fly. It might be easier to fly than run. I'm going to go across to Paris, France, Parlez-vous Français. I want to give a count for the medals for the countries competing in the 2024 Olympics. You got number 10 in the medal count, Germany, with 2 golds, 2 silver, 2 bronze, and 6 total medals. You have Canada, number 9, with 2 golds, 2 silver, 3 bronze, and 7 total medals. You have number 8, Italy, 3 golds, 6 silvers, 4 bronze, 13 total medals. You have the United States with 5 golds, 13 silvers, 12 bronze, and 30 total medals. You have number 6 in the medal count, South Korea, 6 golds, 3 silvers, 3 bronze, and 12 total medals. Number 5, Great Britain, with 6 golds, 6 silvers, 5 bronze, and 17 total medals. You got number 4, Australia, with 7 golds, 6 silver, 3 bronze, and 16 total medals. You have number 3, Japan, with 8 golds, 2 silver, 4 bronze, and 15 total medals. You have number 2, Vive la France, with 8 golds, 10 silvers, 8 bronze, and 26 total. And the number 1 medal count right now is China, with 9 golds, 7 silvers, 3 bronze, and 19 total. May lightning strike! USA! I'm hoping that the USA can pull out more goals than any other country. Right now, the USA leads the entire Olympics and medal count at 30 and counting. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I also want to bring you to the Paris Olympics for the sprint champions. You have Jamaica's Shericka Jackson. She's out of the women's 100, making United States' Sha'Carri Richardson an even bigger favorite. And Shericka Jackson will not race in the women's 100. Instead, will focus on the 200. So she's still going to participate in the Olympics, but not going to be in the 100. The sprinting sensation Sha'Carri Richardson just became an even bigger favorite to claim Olympic gold, and one of Richardson's top challengers in the women's 100 meters revealed today that she has dropped out of the race. Jamaica's Shericka Jackson, a 5-time Olympic medalist, told reporters during an event in Paris that she will focus only on the 200 during the Olympics. When asked the explanation, Jackson said the decision is just to protect her body. I'm going back to Pulp Fiction, one of my favorite movies with my brother Todd. He said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say it, blood! And he told him, that's digging sensation you feeling? Well, that's just pride loving with you. And he told him, he said, forget about pride. Well, I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's just peculiar. Why would you not run the 100, but you run the 200, which is twice the distance? In Jackson's final pre-Olympic race in Hungary, she pulled up with a calf cramp and limped up the track and told reporters Wednesday that she's okay, but that happened in Hungary did not play a role in her decision to concentrate on one event. Well, that's her story, and she's sticking with it. Nothing wrong with that. She can decide if she only wants to run one event. But it takes more strain to run 200 meters than it does to run 100 meters. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. The great Ben Rames must be at the Olympics. USA basketball, South Sudan. I'm telling you, more dominant the Paris Olympics win for the big guys. There would be no upset this time, or even, do you believe in miracles? Or even the threat of one for the United States Olympic men's basketball team, the Team USA. You know, they're amazing basketball players. They left no doubt in this rematch against South Sudan. They knocked down a 103-86 win in Group C pool play today at the 2024 Paris Olympics. And the great Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, he led the team. He dropped 18 points, 14 of which came before halftime when the American bench built an advantage and South Sudan never could overcome. Is it like Lieutenant Dan? No, Lieutenant Dan was in Smokey and the Bandit. That's not Smokey and the Bandit. Lieutenant Dan was in Dumb and Dumber. Okay, they still say it Lieutenant Dan. He was in both of them, but that makes sense to him. I got to tell you, in fact, Smokey and the Bandit was a great movie too. You couldn't have come from my loins. He said one time Jackie Gleason, he went to this restaurant because he had to take a squat. And when he came out of the restaurant, he had some toilet paper on the bottom of his shoe. And the late, great Burt Reynolds said, excuse me, Sheriff, you look like you're in a hurry. What are you after, some bank robber? And the late Jackie Gleason said, bank robber, baby captain, what I'm doing, I'm looking for my reparations. Milady strike. Okay, that's my third. I'm thinking with it. I told you my show's not scripted. The America beats South Sudan. They can never overcome the great Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, and the great Devin Booker. Derek White all finished with double figures in scoring as well. The United States basketball team, they're amazing. So Team USA in South Sudan, they met in a thrilling Team USA basketball showcase game that took a huge third quarter comeback for the U.S. to get the victory. And then James, Team USA's captain, led the way. He dropped 23 points. He said this was the second game of group play for Team USA. In his first game, Team USA earned a 110-84 victory over Serbia, followed by the great Kevin Durant. He dropped 23 points. Durant went 8 for 9 from the field, including 5 for 5 for 3. Yes, get the hole in your life. And then LeBron James had dropped 21 points, had 7 rebounds and 9 assists in the win as well. That's what I love about doing a Big C Sports podcast. I love so much about the programming and being able to play from sea to shining sea and knowing that the military is strong. They say 1 million strong follow Big C Sports. Milady strike! 1 million strong following Big C Sports. I really do want to thank the great Kevin Humes. And now all I need is $100 million. You know people on Wall Street? How about Big C Street? In fact, I want to have the Big C Street come to Wall Street to get my $100 million. I'm trying to get it in the lottery, but maybe I can get it faster on Wall Street at the same time. I got some to talk about the Olympics. I got that in today. I'm so proud of what's going on in the world of our politics and the National Black Wall Street Project. Also, the National Association of Black Journalists having the chance to interview our presidential candidates. And they're just having real talk, not holding back. I was having a conversation with some members last night that I work with. And sometimes, whenever we want to do something great as an African-American culture, There's a thing called passion. May lightning strike if you don't have passion. I speak passionately at times. Sometimes I talk a little fast because I don't feel that I'm being my authentic self if I talk a little slow. Big C, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay, but some people say I talk too fast, and when I talk too slow, they say that they ask me, am I okay? But I want to say, people, we all got to get along. Life's not long enough to be at odds. The enemy comes but to kill, steal, and destroy. May lightning strike. Stop this fighting. There's enough growing up that we got to stay focused on without division. You can have people that say they love you and then they hate you. They like you and then they dislike you. For what? What a waste of time. It's hard enough just being successful. And then people who say they love you, they say, may lightning strike! They tear you down. For what reason? And then we ask the outside community to open doors for us. And we keep closing doors on our own selves. Makes no sense. Sometimes don't even say I'm sorry. And that's a shame. But I learned a long time ago, you got to rise and shine no matter what. You got to always rise and shine. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do want to believe that in the world of sports and also politics, there are times when people may not be on the same page. And we know that's the case when it comes to life. You're not always going to be on the same page with people. There are times when you're going to be at odds with people. And there's a book called A League of Rivals where people can be against, I think it's called A Team of Rivals, where people can change. And you can disagree and agree. But you got to stick together. If we can't stick together as a people, then there's no hope. We got to stick together as a people. If you're wrong, say I'm wrong. If you're sorry, say I'm sorry. But sometimes our own people can be our own enemies. It's a shame. But that's the way life is. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But I do want to just say, when it comes to the world of football, it's kicking off in August. From high school football to college football to NFL football, it's kicking off. And I know a lot of good old boys around the country, they're looking from sea to shining sea to try to find who's going to win the national championship. This year, for the first time, it goes to 12 teams in the Division I level. They've already done that in the FBS, and they have FBS and FCS. Now they're playing more than just 4 teams that can decide who wins the national championship. But I love the fact that it's going to come in the month of August, where people are doing the double days now. They're going to get out in front of their fans and try to root on their best teams. I'm looking at programs in the ACC. I've been seeing some advertisement from the ACC that have Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and you can add in Cal Berkeley and Stanford. That makes no sense. But you know the Pac-12 went away. They called it Pac-12 after dark because they were doing a lot of the negotiation after dark when people were asleep at the wheel. And now the Pac-12 is no more. They have Oregon State and Washington State, and that's a shame. And then as we swing down to the SEC, they've gotten stronger. Of course, that's Alabama. You have LSU. You have Georgia. You have Tennessee, Auburn, Florida. And not only that, they bring in 2 of the top programs from the Big 12. They have Oklahoma, and they bring in Texas to make that conference even more powerful. The great Paul Feinbaum, who never saw a team west of the Mississippi that he liked, if that makes sense to you. But the SEC has just gotten stronger. And when you think about that, that's good for the SEC and the TV revenue they're going to suck in like a vacuum cleaner sucks in dirt. But it's not necessarily good for college football. The Big Ten, they also benefit the Big Ten. You have the powers like Ohio State. You have Michigan, that will be the defending national champion. Jim Harbaugh is now coaching in the NFL with the Los Angeles Chargers. But Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa, always good programs. And now they got even stronger. They bring in USC. They bring in UCLA.